Hi everyone, this is Angela. So the purposes of this video is just to help those classroom teachers in grades K through 3 if they would like to communicate with their students during our quarantine time with COVID virus 19. This is just going to show you the few steps that we're going to do is signing in to your Google account through Classroom, creating a course, and being able to have access to it for your students if you have not done so already. So first things first, if you are already signed into your Google account, and you'll know that because your profile picture will probably show up in the top right hand corner here. Once you are signed in and authenticated through the school, you can click on your waffle or Google Apps or the tic-tac-toe symbol that's in here, whatever you decide to call it. Click that once and you should see it populate. You'll have all your apps here, different ones. If you don't see it right away, you can scroll down. These are just ones that I probably have been using more frequently that will show up at the top. So click on Google Classroom. And for those of you that have already used Classroom, you will see something similar to this. If you have not used Google Classroom before, you'll probably have a gray circle in the center with the little person. It says, you know, for the first time, and it'll have an arrow that will be pointing you to the plus symbol here. When you get ready to do that, or it's asking you a question, it's going to ask first, possibly, are you a student or a teacher? Please press teacher first, because that will be how you will be able to create classes later. And then we'll have to do some things on the back end through the tech department to change your account setup. So please make sure you do teacher, and then you should be able to go ahead and create classes. From that, you should then be able to click create or join a class, click that plus, and you want to create a class. So you click that once, and you can give it whatever name it is that you decide, and keep in mind it does not have to stay that way. You are going to be able to change it if you wish to at a different point. So if you wanted to name it something like you know, distance learning or whatnot, you can give it a subject, can be homeroom or whatnot. If you want to, any of those things would be fine, and then click create. I'm not going to create another one in here, but I already have created one right here that I claimed for spring of 2020, and I don't have any students in there at this time. So once you do so, these three dots are the marching ants. If you click that once, you are able to edit. You can copy the class if you have a lot of things in there later. If you don't want it to be in your main screen here, you can archive that at a later point as well. You can click move, and you can move those things back and forth if you wish to the beginning or the end. Or you can also hover over with your little hand, click and hold, and you can drag and drop and release those things also between your tiles. Okay, so if we click that one time, you will see that you have a class code that you could give to students. At this point, I think the easiest and most efficient way for you to get kids in your class will be for you to add them yourself. So you see across the top bar, you have this navigation bar. So you have the stream that will work very much like a thread for Facebook or Twitter, like a social media page. All of your things will be populating down here. If you click on classwork, this will be where you can assign different things. When you click the blue button to create, you can create assignments where you will be able to give them a grade. A Kami assignment is something that at this point I don't know whether or not we're going to get deep involved with right now, but basically that's if you had a PDF and you wanted the students to be able to annotate on it, you would be able to do this. You can create quizzes, you can ask questions and they can answer and assign points to it. Materials is basically like sending information to the kids where you just want them to know, where you can type info on there. You can reuse posts that are already there. Topics are things that you can separate just as self-explanatory. If it's a topic of art, math, science, social studies, and you just want to keep everything within one course and you want to highlight it under a heading of a topic, you can do that in this point. The people or your members will be your students. So right now I'm the teacher, and you can also add or invite other teachers and allow them to be admins in your course. And then your students. So this here is where you want to live for a moment. When you click that, you can type in, if you happen to have the students' ID numbers, that probably will be the easiest way. So you would just have to start typing in their ID number. I don't have any ID numbers, but so instance, like you can see the ID numbers will populate, or you can also start typing it in if you have your class list, obviously, which many of you may have. I'll just type in a person's name. So something like this, you can type in and find your kid's name that way, and you can invite them to the course. So I'm going to just show you how simple. Right now I'm just going to use Tracy as an example, and I can also still continue to add in people's names and add them in this way and invite. Click invite, and then there you go. It will start to get populated here. So that will be the first thing that you can do, is to invite your students. If you are doing any grading, if any sort, this will be where your grades will show up, just like a grade book. But you want to first create your class, invite your students, and then you can go from there. So if you choose to create any classwork, this is probably where you will stay for, just trying to give you quick, simple, and the most efficient ways to get this information out to you quickly. This is probably where you want to stay for a moment. In Google Classroom, every time you create a course, it automatically creates a class drive folder for you. So when you go to your drive, now you can see it's in my drive, and it will have a folder called Classroom, and every one of those courses that I have will be located here. Now you see this says Applied Digital Skills. That's because that's the original name I had for that class. Instead of creating a new one, I edited the title for this class that I had, so it is no longer called distance learning. So I would have to physically go in there and change that in my drive from this location. But just letting you know the difference. So that's not a mistake. It's just something I haven't fixed at this time. But for anything that your kids are turning in or doing, or it will automatically create a copy of any templates that you create here. It will put those things in that folder in your drive and your students' drives automatically. The kids and you will also have in Google Calendar. If you go to your Google Calendar, and you will see now if this is going to be located, anything I type in black, I can have my own calendar for that course that I wish to enter in there for myself. And your stream, when you go back here, you can see there's no upcoming work, but it will start to populate in this section. At that point, I can also type anything in, hello to students, hi, welcome to my e-learning class, or my distance learning or remote learning class. And you can also see at this point you have a few options. If you had more than one course, probably working with just one at this time, these are all of those classes. I can click on all of those if I choose, and I can put the same posts if I need, so I don't have to go to each one of my classes and post that information. It goes to all of my students. I can add other details. So if there's something in my drive I want to add, if I want to put any links, if I want to put any files from my desktop, if I want to put in YouTube videos, I can embed them directly into this post. I can also click this drop down arrow, and I can schedule a certain time that I want this post to go out, so I don't have to be dictated to for doing it right at the exact time. I can schedule those things. The one thing you do need to make sure is you're probably doing them at least the day before. It does not like to do the scheduling sometimes on day of. And I can also save them as a draft. Same thing, if I don't know if I'm done and I don't want to schedule it yet, I can do the draft, but it's very user friendly. If I set the draft or if I post it automatically, it does give me a way to just click my marching ants. I can click that and can always delete. I can always edit it, and I can also copy the link in any way that I choose. Just click that and go forward from there. So that's just the start of it, of how to give you a quick a quick version of how to use Classroom. At this point, I'll probably be sending something else out in addition to this, with how to do some classroom communication through Google Meet, which will be the next video. But for right now, this should get you started with how to sign in, create your course, and get yourself set up with your students that will be in there, and move from there if in fact we find we will be going longer than the March 30th, 31st date. So again, hope everyone is well, and take care.